Hi, I'm Emily Austin, and this is Plastic Addict Talks, a series of interviews that we're doing with creators from all over to see what they're up to and what we can expect from them next. Today, we're joined by Noelle Perdue, a Toronto-based freelance artist and writer who's working in a concept that she calls digital intimacy, when our relationship with technology crosses over from purely utility to something more emotional. Hi, Noelle. Thank you for joining us today. It's great to see you.
Hi, nice to see you too.
So you've just released this new article on Input called Chatbots and the Loneliness Epidemic When AI is More Than Just a Friend. It's a great primer for people who aren't familiar with the idea of chatbots and sex dolls, and also a really great introduction to some of the ideas that you're working with right now. When did the idea of digital intimacy first occur to you? And what is it about this idea overall that you find so compelling?
It's always something that I've found kind of interesting to think about. I think that technology is often portrayed as utilitarian and portrayed as this neutral thing that is kind of above our human tendency for emotional messiness, when actually that's not the case at all. And technology is absolutely kind of fueled by our emotional understanding and relationship to it, and also what we want as as people and what we want in our lives, which is, for many, like love and acceptance and to be seen and to see others. I have spent so long on AOL, which I referenced in my article, but talking to Smarter Child for like an hour and being like, am I in love with, being like 13 and being like, what's happening? So I just think our relationships to technology can be really romantic. And I like to explore that. And then I used to be a computer programmer, and now I work in the adult industry. I'm a porn script writer and have been for a little while. So it's just also kind of a mathematical combination of my interests.
I also appreciate with your work, you try to combat some of the natural fear that people have with humor. Like, I really love that in the recent New Year's Eve resolution generator, our puny brains couldn't think of such great resolutions.
I've read articles, I've actually read in an academic journal where somebody thought that porn scripts, which is my job, were generated, which was really funny because I was like, no, I just have to write a lot of them. That was really interesting because I also know from working in generative art that that's like not possible right now with what we have access to and where the technology is. Like, it would require a lot of rewrites and editing, and it actually wouldn't be cost effective. So it's just kind of funny to think about where people think technology is right now versus where it actually is.
Right. So speaking of art generated by technology, you've been doing some really funny and interesting work using GANs, which are generative adversarial networks, where the AI kind of competes with itself on two sides to create some sort of output. Can you talk about that work and how it relates to this overall idea of digital intimacy?
I would not say that generative adversarial networks are necessarily an intimacy technology, but I would say that our relationship to them is intimate in that it kind of triggers something in us where we kind of relate to the machine. It's interesting to me to use these technologies, which are so advanced and do kind of hold this fear for people, and use them for something that is like a novelty project where I am just trying to make something that is as sort of not utilitarian as possible. I can only influence it so much, or I usually choose to only influence it so much, and then seeing what it does with it is kind of really nice.
Yeah, I can imagine doing your part of the project and then sort of getting the machine's part back and being sort of surprised and delighted, like, oh, this is what you've done.
Yeah, exactly, which is kind of the most fun part of working with another person too, is just having this idea and then seeing them really like run with it. I understand people's fear about artificial intelligence, and I share it in a lot of ways, but I also think that AI has been an incredible tool for people who suffer from loneliness, people who have been excluded from, you know, community and society for whatever reason, it's happening. So it is genuinely nice for me to be able to have this collaborative experience with the machine.
Yeah, absolutely. To finish off, what can we expect from you next? And where can we follow you?
I am just sort of still trucking along with my projects and with my writing. I'm hoping to have a few more articles out soon that are more kind of tech-centered. I write porn scripts for a studio called Afterglow right now, I'm really excited about them. I think that there's a lot of cool things happening there. You can follow me on Instagram at All Day Breakfast and on Twitter at Noelle Perdue. Yeah, thank you so much for having me on here.
Yeah, thank you, Noelle. It's been amazing talking to you. And thank you for joining us for this episode of Plastic Addict Talks. See you next time.